New Orleans Pelicans have been soaring this season. With a combination of initiators, shooters, a generational finisher, and good defenders, they now sit at the top of the Western Conference. Let's look into what makes them great, how the premier players make it work, and what limitations could hamper their chances of winning a title. Their offense is built around using screening actions to get players open, either at the high post or the three-point line. They'll use nuanced or JVV as passing hubs to set up options for players curling off. They could either immediately come off and shoot, come off and go downhill and create pressure, or reject the handoff, dragging a defender with them and setting up space for someone else to make the same decision. Using this philosophy, the Pelicans have been soaring this season, having a top 8 offensive rating and ranking 7th in both 2-pointers taken and made. CJ McCollum has been utilizing these screening actions a lot more often, as it takes away initial creation duties and mainly asks him to work in stride or off the catch, something he's been accustomed to working with Dame most of his career. His aggressive three-point shooting is something the Pels have been looking for, as last year and this year, their main high-volume threat in Brandon Ingram has taken steps to enhance his on-ball game. Overall, great fit, especially when Zion is on the court. Jose Alvarado has really excelled in this offensive idea, using screens to set up a quick P&R play. In these situations, he can either dump off to the big in the paint or use the floater, something he's really added to his game this year. He's also become a quality shooter, being able to knock down these shots out of situations and off the catch. Really nice value off the bench. Trey Murphy III is on fire starting off this year, becoming one of the best three-point shooters in the league, along with massively improving his two-point percentage. This has stemmed from his improvement as an off-the-catch slasher, his activity as a cutter, and his willingness to be a shooter in screens and in spot-up. This overall package is the ideal three-point wing for this Pelicans team. Brandon Ingram's development as a creator and scorer has really elevated this team's ceiling in the postseason. His ability to now be a mid-range savant, drive downhill off screens, and pop for three often enough, bringing tight pressure from defenders and chasing him off ball. He can also act as a secondary creator when Zion goes off the court. His post improvement gives another quick hitting option for the offense to bail them out of dull possessions, racking up value. Still, what makes this team so special is the insane rim pressure of Zion Williamson. His ability as a paint threat from the top of the key, as a lob threat, and as an offensive rebounder allows him to be a dynamic scorer in the half court. In transition, his ability to push downhill generates tons of open looks, either for cutters or for open shooters on the wing. This combination of shooting gravity and gravity for cutters, along with his on-ball brilliance as a finisher, leads the Pelicans to being one of the best transition offenses in the NBA. His P&R touches are limited though, with the offense more so relying on play action to set him up. His passing is solid, having nice visions for laydowns and kickouts, but not having great delivery, along with not seeing more advanced reads. This culminates in a solid offensive unit, built to be resilient in the postseason, but with concerns regarding creation. The bigger question for this team is, how good can their defense become? Despite missing out on Herb Jones for most of the year, they've been able to maintain a top 5 defense, moving beautifully under the guidance of Willie Green. Their defensive philosophy is built upon lane deterrence through gap help and using defensive bigs as stonewallers, bigs who hold middle ground and take drivers who have lost their momentum after getting past the gap. Look at this play here. They start off with a classic switch fake, where they pretend to play drop or tag the roller, forcing the guard to maintain their advantage on the POA and driving the JVV and Trey Murphy. Zion slows down so he can make sure he can't reject either, or try passing the big. This results in him hitting a wide open wing shooter. Once his pass is in the air, Trey is already rotated back to his open man, taking away the open release valve. Jaden does some solid work on Zion, but due to Anthony's bad positioning, Najee is allowed to basically hedge the driving option. He finally gets right back, but Trey Murphy slides down to play gap deterrence, leading to him pulling up early and shooting a tough contested shot with 8 seconds left. Perfect example of what makes the Pelicans' defense so special. But there are some concerns though. With plays like this, for example, having miscommunication and lack of defensive adjustment. What they should have done is have Zion rotate to the open shooting big, Trey Murphy slide down to take the role, Dyson slide up so he's playing split, and have CJ hold middle on CP3. This would result in a pass to the corner, allowing Dyson to read that and close out, forcing it to McHale. Trey Murphy would have already recovered back by then, Mikhail's only option was either to shoot with the closing defender or attack downhill with JVV in position with only 5 seconds left, leading to a much worse shot. This level of advanced defensive awareness is what we see from other teams in the top 5, which is one of my biggest concerns about this unit. Zion Williamson this year has been really locked in as an off-ball defender. His awareness as a disruptor in the gap, in the post, and across the lane has really been effective. Take this play for example. He starts off on the wing, quickly reads Grant moving across the lane, and does a beautiful dig to force the turnover. Again, you can see in this play, he times his slide in perfectly, going wide with Kevin Durant, and closing off any passing option to either Ben or Kyrie, allowing him to apply even more pressure and get the steal. This new heightened awareness as a passing lane defender and overall disruptor has really elevated his defensive game. In transition, he's a great chase down blocker, hunting down players with his 7-foot wingspan. This overall package will point to him being a clear positive. However, he still has concerns as a rim protector in the half court, along with being a really bad on-ball defender in any context. He's shown flashes of solid defensive recovery, but his initial let-up will be too damning against better offensive players. Still, I can see Zion as a defensive neutral, with some concerns in the postseason against more P&R coverages. CJ McCollum is also a defender for the Pelicans that has a lot of question marks. He gets blown by quite often, but is aware as a rotator off the ball. On this play, he transitions from hedging the P&R to running towards Ben Simmons, reading the ball perfectly, resulting in a steal. Again, on this play, he holds nail to take away the initial drive, then reads the pass delivery and picks it off. This showcase of consistent ball tracking really adds up over the course of a game. Along with being a willing rotator, this adds up to still a negative defensive player, but with some positive defensive qualities that can get amplified in this Pelicans scheme. Brandon Ingram is the best defensive player out of this trio. He consistently works well in man situations, whether it's in isolation or off-ball chasing. See on this play, he follows after Buddy Hield. Once he shuts him down, he switches on to Tyrese Halliburton, forcing him into a tough shot. This consistent effort to really contest adds a lot of value in rotations, where he consistently closes out to opportunities. His best skill, however, is hand tracking. Look at this play for example. He plays preload to take away an inside drive going left, then reads the pass and delivering perfectly to get the steal. This ability to have active hands and not be valued in any other area on defense really adds value as a defensive player, which is why I feel he's a slight positive on defense. Granfeth Alvarado has been the best defender for the Pelicans with Herb Jones out. The value he brings with his defense at the point of attack is immense, with the ability to generate turnovers out of any situation. He's especially good at sneaking behind defenders, stealing from Maxey here, along with generating a lot of these turnovers out of man situations. Like in this situation, holding off Poole in isolation, then reading his dribble patterns to get the steal and start the transition push. Off ball, he's just as effective, being a great disruptor around the lane. On this play, he reads that Clipper's back is turned and picks him off when he exposes the ball backwards. Here, he stunts the guard Scotty, then reads Siakam's eyes and picks off the kickout pass. This adds up to an overall sub-all-D performance by the Pelicans bench guard, with concerns stemming from his lack of switchability on the bigger positions, along with not being an elite man defender. This overall skill set of the New Orleans Pelicans leads to them being one of the best teams in the West and one of the best teams in the league.